Okay, the time is now 6 p.m. Our regular city council meeting for May 6, 2025 is now in session. First on the agenda is Councilmember Macaluso will lead us with the opening prayer and the pledges of allegiance to the flags of the United States and the state of Texas. Please rise.
Lord, I thank you for all your blessings. We come to you asking for your wisdom and guidance as we meet together tonight. I ask that you work through us all to do what is best for the citizens of Schertz and allow us to have meaningful, honest, and constructive discussions on the issues being considered. We ask these things in your name. Amen. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Honor the Texas flag. Pledge allegiance to thee, Texas, one state, under God, one and indivisible.
Thank you, Councilmember Macaluso. Okay, first is the employee recognition, and we have IT.
Good evening, Mayor, Council. I'm here to introduce Rebecca Gonzalez as the newest member of the IT team here at the City of Schertz, serving as our administrative assistant. Rebecca is from Seguin with over 17 years of experience as an administrative professional with Guadalupe County Clerk's Office, Justice of the Peace Precinct 1, and Edward Jones Investments. As an administrative assistant, Rebecca is excited to deliver a high quality of support to the department and all departments IT serves. Rebecca enjoys the outdoors with her daughter Evelyn, collecting state and national park stamps in their park passports. Would you like to say something?
Thank you for this opportunity.
Well, welcome to our team.
Thank you.
Next, we have fleet management.
Good evening, Mayor, Mr. Brian James, council members. I'm happy to introduce Mr. Richard Marshall to the city fleet department. Richard he's married. He's a proud father of 2 children, 1 boy, 1 girl. Richard comes from an extensive background of emergency services vehicles, about 8 years of experience working on fire trucks, PD vehicles, ambulances, with lights, sirens, additional accessories as needed. When asked, why do you want to work for the city of Schertz, Richard responded that he wants to expand his knowledge of mechanics when working on different vehicles that we have in fleet, tractors, the VATCon, sweepers, PD vehicles, they enjoy his company over there. When Richard is not working with the city on emergency service vehicles and other vehicles, he enjoys the beach and exploring new unique places to eat with family and friends. So, Richard?
I'm just happy to be part of a great team here at Schertz. Thank you.
Well, welcome to our team, Richard.
And next is Mr. James Guevara. I have to say, James is by far the youngest person we've had over here at Fleet. James is 21 years old. He is a graduate of Roosevelt High School. He's the youngest of 3 children. From what I've learned with James is that his strong point when it comes to mechanics is changing out tires because that's what he did in his previous job. But as he's come to Fleet, I've seen that he has actually learned to take on some of the more the complex jobs. Just last week, my boss, Ms. Donisha, was asking us, what is he working on? And he already had the whole dashboard pulled out of a vehicle. To the point where it surprised me because he has a lot to learn, but he's still learning. And he's taking his knowledge where he's already done 2. One of them, he had one of the guys helping him. The other one, he knocked it out by himself. So also, when James is not working on vehicles, he actually enjoys working on his older Toyota, which I'm guessing he's trying to fix up and make it like Fast and the Furious. And, maybe we'll see him down Schertz Parkway one day.
Thank you, gentlemen. Ladies, thank you so much for the opportunity. Very happy to be working for the city of Schertz.
Well, welcome to our team, James.
Thank you.
Next, we have the library.
Good evening, Mayor, Brian James, City Council. I am April from the Schertz Public Library. I'm so excited to be here to introduce Catherine to you. She's one of our new library assistants. She started just the beginning of April, performing a variety of tasks, circulation, reference, and helping just all over the library. She is born in Harlingen, so a Texas native, currently attending Northeast Lakeview for an associate in arts. She participates in dance and cheerleading and was student of the month in April, so we know she's a good student. She has quite an extensive family, 7 siblings, 5 brothers and 2 sisters, and a pet dog named Lewis. When Catherine's not at work or in school, she enjoys writing, reading, crime podcasts, and murder mystery podcasts. Don't we all? She loves sushi and cooking, and she's currently watching the Marvel movies and sitcoms. And something Brian James might be interested in, she is currently trying to memorize the Dewey Decimal Systems.
Oh.
Please help me welcome Catherine to the library.
For the record, I do not like murder. I like murder podcasts, but thank you for the opportunity.
Well, welcome to our team. We have to be careful with our pauses.
Thank you. Hello, Mayor and Council. I have the pleasure of introducing Ms. Amari Russell here. She also joined as a library assistant. She was born and raised in San Antonio, where she graduated from Judson High School. This weekend, she'll actually be graduating with her bachelor's degree in information science from the University of North Texas. So congratulations, Amari. She's currently exploring graduate schools with the goal of earning her master's in library science. Right now, she lives just down the street from her mom, and she lives with her older sister and their cat Brock that they just adopted recently. Her dad retired in 2020, and her family enjoys going out on the far side east of San Antonio to go visit him for barbecue get-togethers. Amari loves to read, should come as no surprise. Summertime, spending time outdoors, and lately she's been getting into hiking. She loves live music, going to concerts, and going to music festivals with her sister. So please, thank you for welcoming Amari.
Amari.
Thank you guys for giving me the opportunity to be part of the team.
Well, welcome to our team. Next, we have Public Works.
Good evening, Mayor and Council. Today, I'll be introducing the newest member of the Water and Wastewater team, Darren Martinez. Darren was born in Elmendorf, and he comes in with a little bit of experience. He did come in with a CDL, which is the first thing that we try to get all of our new people, all of our new employees to get. He was led into this career because he enjoys the science behind water and wastewater and knowing that every little thing he can do makes a big difference and being able to work as a team. When he's not working, he does enjoy hanging out with family and going to the river. And his favorite TV show is The Pit. And he was asked that if he could have dinner with a famous celebrity, that would be Robin Williams. And I'm excited to have Darren join our team. If y'all could help me welcome him.
I just really appreciate the very extensive, warm welcome I've had in the city of Schertz. It's been awesome. Everybody's been really welcoming, and it's been really nice. So thank you.
Welcome to our team, Darren. All right, we'll move on to proclamations. Our first proclamation is Municipal Clerks Week, May 4th through May 10th, 2025. Ms. Edmondson, if you'd like to join me over here. We have the City of Schertz proclamation, the 56th Annual Professionals Municipal Clerks Week, May 4th through May 10th, 2025. Whereas the Office of Professional Municipal Clerk, a time-honored and a vital part of local government, exists throughout the world. Whereas the Office of the Professional Municipal Clerk, also called by other names such as the City Clerk, City Secretary, City Administrator, among with them is also the deputies and assistants in the oldest profession known to public service. Whereas the Office of Professional Municipal Clerk provides a professional link between the citizens and the local government bodies and other government agencies at other levels. Whereas the professional municipal clerks have pledged to be ever mindful of the neutrality and impartial and render equal service to all. Whereas the professional municipal clerk serves as the information center on functions of local government and community. Whereas the professional municipal clerk continuously strive to improve the administration of the affairs of the office of the professional municipal clerk through participation in education programs, seminars, workshops, and annual meetings of their state, provinces, counties, and international professional organizations. Whereas it is appropriate that we recognize the accomplishments of the Office of the Municipal Clerk, and therefore I, Ralph Gutierrez, Mayor for the City of Schertz, do recognize the week of May 4th through May 10th as the Professional Municipal Clerks Week, and further extend the appreciation to our professional clerks, Ms. Edmondson, Ms. Curry, our Deputy City Secretary, and our newest member, Melissa, and thank them for their vital service that they perform to the citizens of the City of Schertz. So with that, Ms. Edmondson, mic's yours.
Thank you. Thank you, Mayor and City Council. The City Secretary is appointed by the City Council and is a statutory position required by state law and city charter. Our City Secretary office also, the City Secretary is also the Chief Governance Officer. Our functions, we function as the Chief Elections Officer, the Records Management Officer, and other duties. The City Secretary serves as a member of the City Management Team and oversees many functions of the City Secretary's office and council services. In a typical day in the City Secretary's office could include working on agendas, minutes, open records, records management issues, alcohol permitting, liens, overseeing our boards, committee, and commissions, and supporting our City Council when needed. I am very proud to be working with a wonderful group of coworkers. I'd like to introduce Ms. Cherie Kearney. She's our Deputy City Secretary. And again, as the Mayor said, our newest member to the office is Melissa Zip. She's our Records Management Coordinator. Very excited to have her. And let me see. Without these two folks here, I don't think we could have been as successful as we hope we are and shoot to be. It is a team effort, and I just want to let everyone know that I am blessed to have such an awesome team to work with, and I thank them every day. Thank you.
You know, I just can't say enough about our City Secretary's office. I really do appreciate all the time that you put into the work that is being done. Sometimes I go out for a jog up the Parkway, and 9 o'clock, they're still in the office. You know, it's amazing all the work that you do, because the success of this council and how we run the business also depends on our city secretaries. And I just want to say thank you from the bottom of my heart. I really do appreciate it. Okay, we have our next proclamation. is the Economic Development Week, May 11th through May 17th, 2025, and Councilmember Macaluso will be providing the proclamation, and if I could have the EDC staff, please join me up here.
Okay, Economic Development Week, May 11th through the 17th. Whereas the Schertz Economic Development Corporation, a 4B sales tax corporation of the state of Texas, was established by the vote of the citizens of Schertz in 1997 and governed by a 7-member board of community leaders appointed and approved by the City Council of Schertz. And whereas communities rely on economic development professionals to promote economic well-being incentives and projects, coordinating activities that create, retain, and expand jobs to facilitate growth, enhance wealth, and provide a stable tax base. And whereas economic developers are engaged in a wide variety of activities, stimulating entrepreneurial activities, helping to attract and retain high-quality jobs, develop vibrant communities, and improve the quality of life in their regions. Now, therefore, be it resolved that Ralph Gutierrez, Mayor of Schertz, Texas, recognizes May 11th through the 17th, 2025 as Economic Development Week and reminds citizens of the importance of this community celebration, which supports expanding business opportunities, which improves the lives of Schertz citizens.
Thank you, Paul. Appreciate it. My name is Scott Wayman, and I'm the EDC director. And with me today, I have Amy and Ashley, and they're the brains of the outfit. The EDC, we're funded by 0.5 cent of your sales tax. So when you buy a football at Walmart, we get half a cent off every dollar. And we can use those dollars to do things like infrastructure for any type of business, or we can use them for quality of life, like parks. We can use them to attract and retain primary jobs. And the great thing about my job is last year we did every one of those things. So thank you for letting us be here.
Just want to say the success of our city depends on economic development and the growth that we have. And we are experiencing a lot of growth. Thanks, Scott. All right, our next proclamation is National Police Week, May 11th through the 17th. And it's also National Police Officers Memorial Day on May 15th. And Councilmember Guerrero will be reading the proclamation. And if I can please have the representatives join me up here.
National Police Memorial Day, May 15th, 2025. National Police Week, May 11th through 17th, 2025. Whereas the members of the City of Schertz Police Department play an essential role in safeguarding the rights and freedoms of the citizens of Schertz and provide a vital public service. And whereas the City of Schertz Police Department consists of 71 sworn officers, 15 professional staff members, 4 record clerks, 16 telecommunicators, 15 cross guards, and 9 animal control staff members. And whereas the City of Schertz Police Department responded to approximately 29,821 service calls last year. And whereas the City of Schertz Police Department hosts numerous community events throughout the year, which include breakfast with the Blue, Community Car Seat Check, Citizens Police Academy, Junior Police Academy, Teen Police Academy, CarFit, crime prevention programs, community safety presentations, Texas Special Olympics, and more. We also partner with local businesses and nonprofit organizations for our community events. And whereas it is important that all citizens know and understand duties, responsibilities, hazards, and sacrifices of their law enforcement agency, and that members of our law enforcement agency recognize their duty to serve the people by safeguarding the life and property, by protecting them against violence and disorder. and by protecting the innocent against deception and the weak against oppression. And now, therefore, be it resolved that Mayor of Schertz call upon citizens of the city of Schertz to observe May 15th, 2025 as National Peace Officers Memorial Day to honor those officers who, through their courageous deeds and made the ultimate sacrifice in service to their community or have become disabled in the performance of duty. And let us recognize and pay respect to the survivors of our fallen heroes. I further call upon all citizens of Schertz and upon all patriotic, civic, and educational organizations to observe the week of May 11 through 17, 2025 and National Police Week with appropriate ceremonies and observances in which all of our citizens may join in commemorating law enforcement officers past and present who, by their faithful and loyal devotion to their responsibilities, have rendered a dedicated service to their communities and in so doing have established themselves as inviolable and enduring reputation for preserving the rights and security of all citizens. In testimony whereof, I have, Mayor of Schertz, to be affixed this 6th day of May 2025. Signed, Mayor of Schertz.
Mayor, Council, I wanted to thank everybody for their support. It's great to have a community here that supports police as well as everybody here does. This is only a fraction of our staff, but I want to say from the bottom of our hearts, we thank you for all the support. And we look forward to serving you as much as we can. Thank you.
The safety and security of our community is very important. And thank you to all the officers that make that possible here in the city of Schertz. Our next proclamation is the World Facilities Management Day, May 14, 2025. And Councilmember Westbrook will be reading the proclamation. If I can please have the representatives join me up here.
Whereas World Facilities Management Day is May 14th, 2025, and this year's theme is Resilience in Action, Thriving in a World of Change. And whereas facility management is a profession dedicated to ensuring the functionality, comfort, safety, sustainability, and efficiency of the buildings in which we all live and work. And whereas facility managers ensure that buildings and all components work properly, whether the space is a factory, an office, hospital, shopping mall, airport, museum, or municipal government offices. And whereas facility managers perform and oversee a variety of essential functions, including cleaning, security, maintenance, ground management, emergency response, disaster mitigation, project management, real estate management, and sustainability planning. And whereas facility management is a crucial part of every organization because it ensures that the places we use are safe, comfortable, and healthy. And whereas organizations such as the International Facility Management Association serve the global facility management community through career development, learning, networking, opportunities, and leadership skills to empower facility managers to solve challenges today and in the future. And whereas World Facility Managers Day recognizes the efforts of the facilities management profession anywhere that facility management professionals influence the health, safety, productivity, and well-being of people who utilize the built environment. And whereas we are grateful for the positive impact facility managers have on our infrastructure, the safety of our population, and our economy. And whereas it is fitting and proper to recognize the efforts of organizations and individuals working to ensure a safer built environment, happy and healthy occupants, and a sustainable world. Now, therefore, be it resolved that Ralph Gutierrez, Mayor of the City of Schertz, does hereby proclaim May 14th, 2025 as World Facility Management Day, and ask all of our citizens to appreciate the service and dedication our Facilities Department provides to the City of Schertz each day. Congratulations.
Thank you, Mayor, Council, for this proclamation and recognition. Special thank you to our city management team for their continued support. And a big thank you to our facility staff who keep our buildings running day in, day out, and operational. Thank you.
Our next proclamation is the World Multiple Sclerosis Day, May 30th, 2025, and our Mayor Pro Tem Hayward will be reading the proclamation. And if I can please have the representatives join me up here. I think this one has a special touch for you. Please.
Good evening, everyone. I am reading the World Multiple Sclerosis Day. I'm reading it early because I won't be attending the council meeting at the 20th because I'll be traveling doing my TML president duties. And I wanted to read this because it's special to me. My husband was diagnosed with MS, and we have a nephew with MS and several other friends with MS, and it impacts your whole family and your whole life. And I just wanted to read this to bring it home to we need more research for this disease. Whereas the National Multiple Sclerosis Society San Antonio chapter will observe World MS Day on May 30th, 2025 to share education and build awareness for multiple sclerosis. And whereas every day millions of Americans face the incredible challenge of having to live with multiple sclerosis, the chronic disease that affects the central nervous system. And whereas MS is a destroyer of connections, it disrupts signals and separates minds from bodies and pulls us away from each other. And whereas the City of Schertz recognizes the importance of supporting the individuals living with MS, their families, and their caregivers, and acknowledges the need for increased understanding, research, resources to improve the quality of life for those impacted by this condition. And whereas the National Multiple Sclerosis Society is dedicated to raising funds for research of multiple sclerosis and to provide local programs for people affected with this disease. And now be it therefore resolved on behalf of the Mayor, Ralph Gutierrez, do proclaim May 30th, 2025 as World MS Day in the City of Schertz and urge all citizens to join in raising awareness, offering support, and promoting understanding of multiple sclerosis within our community.
Thank you. I stand here not as Allison's husband, but as an ambassador for the MS Society, my official duties. So you know, for the area of San Antonio, we're coming up on the 36th year of the Ride to the River. This year, the ride is going to be October 7th through the 8th. Now, stats for you. There's roughly 1 million people in the United States living with MS. Roughly 3 million people worldwide living with MS. So, on average, 40,000 cyclists ride to raise money for MS. So, in the beginning, 15 years ago, there was 2 disease-modifying therapies. As of today, there are over 20 disease-modifying therapies. If you know anyone as an ambassador hat on now, who may be affected by MS, reach out to me and I'll get them in contact with the resources they need. a simple number that easy to remember, 1-800-FIGHT-MS. They made it so it wasn't hard to remember. So 1-800-FIGHT-MS. And come on out October 7th, 8th. It's truly a ride to the river. We're going from Rolling Oaks Mall up to the river, camping at the campground up there, Ellen something, and then riding back to the Rolling Oaks Mall the following day. So again, I'm a resource. If you know anyone with MS, have them reach out to me. I can also get them in contact with other organizations that will fit them with bikes or do some adventures. The goal is do what you can, when you can, while you can.
All right, now we have a couple presentations. Our first presentation is the shirts Cub Scout Pack 51. And if I can have Miss Amy Thomas join me up here, and Andy Copey.
Mayor, City Council, City Officers, citizens of Schertz. My name is Benjamin Wheatley. I'm the committee chair for PAC 51, based here locally out of Schertz. I'm joined with Maria Anderson and Jackie Gepner, fellow Scout leaders. More importantly, I have Alexander Bear Gepner, Stockton Wheatley, and Avery Manning, just a representation from our Cub Scouts. Our mission, youth organization, is to nurture leadership and character development and increase skill sets. Annually, we have the opportunity to have what's called a Pinewood Derby. These amazing young people take a small block of wood and try and transform it into a racing machine, and they use their creativity and ingenuity. There are some pretty cool designs. Some of them are fast, some are not. It doesn't really matter if they go or not. It's whether they've learned and had fun. But this annual event, we had an amazing opportunity to upgrade it in location to the Retma Park, where we actually had our Pinewood Derby race at a racetrack. And we were also blessed to have amazing community leaders as VIP judges for our Pinewood Derby racing. And so we would like to take this opportunity to present some of those VIP judges with a token of our appreciation, a thank you card. Mayor Ralph Gutierrez was a VIP judge. Miss Amy Thomas from the SCUC ISD was a special judge. And Andy Copy, who is from the Schertz Cibolo Selma Lions Club. Unfortunately, he couldn't make it today as he's recovering from surgery. But we are incredibly blessed to have an amazing community that supports our organization and encourages these amazing young people to continue to grow and develop. And we cannot thank the community enough.
You know, it was exciting to go to that derby. When I found out they all get one piece of block, a piece of block, and then they had to be very creative. And like he said, some of them don't go down the hill so quickly, and others did. But the art that goes into crafting that piece of wood and shaping it the way it is, it was quite incredible. And I thank you for everything you do for our community and the kids. I really do appreciate that very much. All right, our next presentation is a South Texas Special Olympics, a special thank you and a fundraising presentation by Ms. Hernandez of the Police Department. If you can join me up here, please.
Good evening, Mayor, Council, everybody. So I'm Sharon Hernandez. I work with Special Olympics Texas. I am the Law Enforcement Torch Run Coordinator. For the ones that don't know about Special Olympics, it's an organization that supports individuals with intellectual disabilities. We have over 2,000 athletes in our area, in our region, and we do different events to support the athletes, from racing events, competitions throughout the year, and the officers, our LETRs, or Law Enforcement Torch Run, those are our biggest supporters. So we get police departments, first responders that help us out in all events, and they, Sheriff's Police Department, thank you, Major, thank you, Chief, for letting them be a part of this. And last year in 2024, they raised $10,721 for Special Olympics, for the athletes to be able to compete, to be able to travel, to get their uniforms, to get health care. So it's a good, big accomplishment for the police department to let us do that and help out. And this is Katrina Cordova. She is one of our council members for the LETR. So if you want to say a few.
I'm very loud, so I don't think I need a microphone. But what I want to say is just, I know this represents an achievement, a goal. There's different levels of incentives. But what it doesn't say is the amount of time, the relationships they've built within the community. And I do understand it takes an entire community to support departments and just become successful, but our athletes have just the biggest admiration for y'all. Every time you come out, they light up, they love what you guys do for them. You guys know you probably get text messages because they love everything that you do. Their spare time is dedicated to helping us, whether that's planning international conferences, representing us from the local to the state and international stages. We're just very, very happy that Shirts is a part of our community and our family, and we just thank you so much.
Okay, we'll move on to city events and announcements of upcoming events. Ms. Gonzalez?
Yes, thank you, Mayor. This Thursday, May 8th, is the Shirts Young Leaders graduation ceremony. That'll be at 6 p.m. in the Bluebonnet Hall. On Monday, May 12th, there are two events going on. First is the ribbon cutting for the Shirts Soccer Complex lights, and that's at 6 p.m. at the Shirts Soccer Complex on Maskey Road. At the same time, there is the police memorial with Shirts and Cibolo Police Departments at 6 p.m. at Santikos in Cibolo. On Saturday, May 17th, we have Dark Skies and Fireflies at 7 p.m. at Crescent Bend Nature Park. And then finally, the next scheduled City Council meeting will be on May 20th at 6 p.m. here in the council chambers. Thank you.
Thank you, Ms. Gonzalez. Announcements and recognitions by our acting city manager, Mr. James. Don't have any. Okay. Announcements and recognitions by the mayor. We'll move on. Next on the agenda is the hearing of residents. This time is set aside for any person who wishes to address the city council. Each person is limited to 3 minutes, and we ask before addressing the council, for the record, please state your name and address. Now, we do have a couple of public hearings scheduled today, and residents have a choice. You may speak at the hearing of residents, or you may choose to comment during the public hearing, or you may speak at both, the hearing of residents and the public hearing. The choice is yours. Mayor Pro Tem, please call our first speaker.
Mr. Daniel Jamerson.
Good evening, Council. Daniel Jameson, 1048 Richmond Drive here in Shirts. Also a life member of the VFW, Veterans of Foreign Wars. If you don't know, the third Saturday of every month is breakfast time. So come out. I encourage every one of you from City Council, pop in, say hi, get a meal, eggs to order, all you can eat. You can't beat it. The price is only $10, and that covers a lot of food. If you try to go to Denny's or IHOP, order the same meal, you're gonna pay $15, $20, easy, per person. Ours is only $10, and it goes right back to the community. Speaking of which, Memorial Day. We've talked about Memorial Day. If you don't know, the City of Schertz is honoring Memorial Day and Veterans Day this year. Please come out and support Memorial Day. It is the best time you'll ever see. The bar has been raised. I know, I'm chair for that event. We've got our mayor who will be leading us in the Pledge of Allegiance. We've got the high school choirs from Clemens and Steele going to give the national anthem. The local pastor will be giving the benediction. We have our fire chief who's going to help with taps. High school band's going to be playing taps. Color guard from the ROTC is going to be presenting the colors. You can't beat it. We've got the community involved. We want City Council to be involved. This is our city. Come out. Time, 9 o'clock. Show up about 8:30. That way you can make sure you got a seat. Of course, our key people will have a seat. But please come out and enjoy. And let's remember those who have sacrificed, our EMS, our fire department, police department, our veterans. Most of y'all are veterans yourselves. You know, please come out. This is a one-in-a-lifetime event. It happens every year. This time it's Schertz's event, so let's take care of our own people. And I salute y'all. Thank you.
Our next is Brent Bolter. Mr. Brent Bolter.
Brent Bolter, 2633 Cloverbrook Lane, Belmont Park subdivision. Mayor, council, of course, I was here last council meeting. I utilized my whole 3 minutes, so I have to hit a couple more points tonight that I didn't get to the first time. First one being, and I've since got some information on this, but I'm going to still bring it up. So 9,300 accounts are going to have to figure out what they're going to do with their trash cans that they'll no longer be able to use. Rumit has it that city is going to provide some ability for people to have those picked up, but I don't know. This was secondhand information, but it still stands. 93 accounts are going to have trash cans. Come July 1st, they can't use anymore. So the question is, what are we going to do with them? Second point, I found it interesting that this decision was made, and it was, let's have 93 accounts deal with something new versus 5,200 accounts. So the impact is going to be on a bigger amount of people in the city rather than a lesser amount of people in the city. From a political standpoint, I just thought it was interesting. Let's upset 9,300 accounts versus 5,200 accounts. So to me, that just struck me as strange. That's the way you guys went. The last point, so I've been before council and mayors in the past asking one thing. If you're going to come to me and say, we need more money from you, great. I want to see results. I want to see something better. In this situation, you've basically told 9,300 account holders, we're going to charge you more and we're going to provide less to you. So all I'm going to say tonight is I hope that's not a trend I see continued in the future where you're going to take more money from me and I'm going to get less in return. So I would just keep that in mind going forward when you make decisions. Thank you.
Maggie Titterington.
Good evening, Maggie Titterington, 5325 Storm King, Chair of the Schertz Historical Preservation Committee. I wanted to give you all an update on some things that we are doing and working on this year after our strategic planning in January and February. We are currently going to have our next trivia night at Ashley Park on June 6th at 7 p.m. We're working in coordination with Movies in the Park. Very excited about that. Also working with the Samuel Clemens History Club and Mark, their facilitator. The kids put together the questions for us and the answers, and then different businesses and Schertz donate some prizes. And of course, we have the Your Cutoff t-shirts to give out as prizes. But very excited. June 6th, please mark your calendars for that. Also, we are working, first time ever, Roz is the brainchild on this, is a historical calendar. It's a Schertz calendar. We're working to get it turned in by probably around the middle of September for the 2026 year. It's going to feature 12 historical sites all around Schertz, a little bit of history about it, and then we're also going to input stuff that's happening in the city of Schertz, like the dates of the 4th of July Jubilee, and if there's other police memorial, things like that. Anything we can get our hands on before that September turn-in date, but we're really excited, can't wait to see how that looks. We're also working with the Samuel Clemens History Club on sorting so many photos, hundreds and hundreds of digital documents, photos, getting them in order. Between myself and Chris Hormel, we managed to get all of Dean Wirt's discs and flash drives consolidated, and so now the History Club has the happy chore of getting them all into folders to where it's, you know, this is old Schertz, this is current Schertz, this is, you know, business and stuff, and they're gonna have it done hopefully by the end of the year, so really, really good things going on. And last but not least, we're working with the city also to kind of get a standard of historical signs for designated streets like Aviation Heights. Also a designation marker, which I know we're going to be talking about tonight, that the committee recommended for approval. Just where the standard, the plaque, the signage, whatever it is, that once we have designated a landmark property, they all look the same. You know, there's not round ones and square ones and stuff. So we're working together with Schertz and within the committee to design a standard, and hopefully in the next couple months we'll have something to bring forward to you. Great committee, 8 members, a couple more applications coming in, still looking for a couple more spots to fill, but it's been a really, really great first part of the year. Thank you.
Peter Snadden? Did I pronounce that right? Or what is it?
Snadden.
Snadden,
Yes,
okay.
ma'am.
Thank you.
Pete Snadden, 209 White Trail, Cibolo, Texas, and I apologize for that. But I'm here today as the Chief Appraiser of Guadalupe County. And as a prelude to future formal presentation that I'll bring forth to you all looking for approval, we're currently in the end cycle of our due diligence in looking to address the growth that everybody obviously has dealt with. I started with the district back in 2008 as a residential appraiser. At that time, they had just finished their last renovation of an original 1984 built property. And at this point, I've joked a few times with individuals indicating that I've repurposed every closet I can into a workspace with our current facility. In this role, obviously, it's on me to make sure that we're able to maintain operational readiness and get everybody that we serve, taxpayers as well as the entities, the services that they expect from us. So with that in mind, last year, myself and our board of directors started looking at remedies to address this. Included purchasing some land behind us to build on again. Different scenarios, 2-story with unfinished upstairs, so that way we're ready for growth. And then this other aspect came along, purchasing the old Mary B. Erskine School in Seguin, 1914 built school. Developer got it a few years back and hasn't been able to do much with it. And you know, we said this could meet our needs. You know, it's obviously a lot larger. It's a 4-acre site, a complete city block. But the main structure, a three floors, would definitely serve to meet our needs today as well as within the next 10, 15 years down the road. The caveat to this is tax code requires approval from 3/4 of our taxing units because you all, unfortunately, are going to have to fund it. We can't tax anybody. We can't have any bonds or anything like that. So that's what I've been kind of going out and speaking to the entities and preparing them for the formal presentation that'll be here in the next few weeks. We have a board meeting tomorrow night where the final report on our due diligence assessment as well as conceptual designs are going to be presented to them with the final probable costs. And if they pass a resolution authorizing me to come out and see you all again, I'll see you in the next few weeks or months to hopefully gain your approval. Thank you all.
We have one discussion and action item before we go continue. The application for landmark property designation, consideration of a landmark property designation for 420 Curtis Avenue. Mr. James.
Thank you, Mayor. Just to remind the council and the folks in the audience, these are a bit unusual, right? So we have a Historic Preservation Committee of which Maggie is the chair, and one of the things they do to help promote our history is they recommend properties to be selected as landmark properties. While it may say it's a designation, it's really an honorary designation, so it doesn't fall under the restrictions of state law at all. But one of the other things that we do with that is that part of that sort of carrot and stick approach is that when a property has that designation, it's eligible for our historic preservation grant. And again, many folks buying an old home cost above the norm to fix up, and so they're eligible for that. So the property owners here came forward before Historic Preservation at their March 26th meeting requesting a designation. Sometimes we deal with really big buildings, Samuel L. Clemens, the old hospital, grand structures like that. But a lot of the structures we recognize are more modest. They're really important because they're indicative of what the community was a long time ago, right? It was a more modest community. It was a working class community, folks who supported Randolph and things like that. And I think this is one of those structures that's really indicative of that. It's characteristic of the construction at the time of the 1940s. It's got a small covered front porch. It's got the lap siding on it, and it really is indicative of the way those folks who came and started this community and built it for what it is today are there. So with that, the committee recommended approval of this designation. It requires you to vote on it, and then we'll get the proclamation read.
All right, thank you, Mr. James. All right, council, floor is open for discussion. Councilmember Guerrero.
A couple of questions.
Sure.
Can you hear me now?
Yeah.
Okay. Has there been any upgrades or any renovations to the?
The property owner's done some work on it. It's in pretty good shape. And generally, if a property is that old, right, because it was built in the 1940s, and so it's coming in at 75 years, work has been done by property owners at the time. But it's a pretty good example of what it was built. It hasn't been significantly changed since the original. But again, we want to recognize that still, even as buildings grow and learn and have additions and things like that put on, right, because families tend to be different. Back in the day, it was, one bathroom, maybe 2 bedrooms, maybe if you're lucky a third, but it again had 6, 7, 8 people living in it, and so people do modify going forward. But it doesn't appear this one has had significant changes from what I could tell.
So for the most part, it's the original.
It's a pretty good example of what the original was, yes, sir.
Okay. Is there any other landmarks near that property?
So we have a number, right? Curtis is just kind of off behind sort of Main Street, and we have a number of designations. So the highest is really along that Main Street property. We've got one just down the way on Exchange as well. So yeah, it's part of that whole area, yes, sir.
Just out of curiosity, the owners or tenants who lived there at that time back in, what is it, 40s? 1940s, is that?
So the current owners applied for the designation. Presently, they more recently bought the property, so they are not the original owners.
No. What I'm saying is that the owners or tenants who used to live there back in the 40s and 50s, are they aware that this is coming up for?
So we don't know who those folks are, right? The records don't necessarily go back to say who the first family was that lived in the structure. And again, as I said, we designate landmarks for a number of different reasons. Sometimes it's because there's a significant event that occurred there. Sometimes it's the impact the property has had on the community. Sometimes it's because someone famous lived there. This doesn't really necessarily hit any of those, and that's okay. They don't have to. What this again is about, this proclamation, is making folks aware that in City of Schertz we have these important historic structures because they're a reflection of what our community was back in the day. Before you could come down a Schertz Parkway, right? These were folks who were building this community. Before we had the police department we had, or the fire department we had, or the EMS service, and we hear the stories about folks who volunteered to create those things, they helped build this community, and so it's important to recognize where they lived and carried out their daily activities.
Thank you.
Yes, sir.
Council, any other comments? Is there a motion to approve the landmark property designation for 420 Curtis?
So moved.
Second.
Have a motion made by Mayor Pro Tem Hayward and second by Councilmember Watson. Council, any other comments? Please cast your vote. We can publish the vote, please. We have 6 ayes, no objections. Motion passes.
And so, Mayor, if I could get you to come read the proclamation.
Yes, if we can
Maggie
please
to
have
come on
them,
up with me.
please join us up here, and we have a proclamation to read. We have a City of Schertz proclamation, landmark property designation for 420 Curtis, May 6, 2025. Whereas the City of Schertz and the Schertz Historical Preservation Committee feel it is important to recognize places that represent unique features of the city landscape, either by its nostalgic, aesthetics, architectural, historical, or just symbolic character. Whereas the City of Schertz specifically desires to recognize and promote awareness of those places that comprise of the most valuable historical elements of our community, past and through increased awareness of their existence. Whereas the City of Schertz desires to recognize places that represent unique features of the city's landscape, neighborhood development, aesthetic architectural, symbolic character, through the creation of either heritage neighborhoods or landmark property designations. Whereas a heritage neighborhood and/or landmark property designation shall be of such nature to be free of the designation status as per Chapter 442, Section 315.006 of the Texas Governmental Code. Whereas the city received a request by the owners of the property at 420 Curtis to be designated as a landmark property. Whereas at their March 26, 2025 meeting, the Schertz Historical Preservation Committee recommended confirming the landmark property designation for the property at 420 Curtis. Whereas the single-family house located on the property was constructed in approximately 1940 and typifies the construction at the time with a small covered stope and slab siding. Whereas the structure provides a reminder of early Schertz and the people who helped grow the community of what it is today. Therefore, I, Ralph Gutierrez, Mayor for the City of Schertz, do hereby proclaim 420 Curtis Street as the Schertz, Texas, as a landmark property. And I encourage all the citizens for the City of Schertz to recognize and honor the importance of this great city and this property. Maggie, if you'd like to say a few words. Sure.
If you don't mind real quick. And so again, I think, as I mentioned, this is one of a number of things that the Historic Committee does to really increase awareness of the history of our community. Again, I appreciate the update Maggie gave. I'll take this opportunity to thank Maggie, all the members on the committee, the council liaisons we have, Councilman Guerrero and Councilman Westbrook, who certainly show their support. And again, if you've looked at what this community has done over the last year, for example, there's a lot more things going on. So we greatly appreciate the hard work and effort, and this is just one of those. So thank you guys very much.
Let's take a quick photo here. I'd just like to take this opportunity to thank Maggie and the historical team. Documenting the history of our city is very important. Gathering the photos of past, it's quite a task, but sometimes we like to go back and just reflect on what our city looked like back then, because it is changing constantly. And those photos would just remind us of how the city looked and how we have prospered so much and the growth that we experience. Thank you, Maggie, for everything you do. With that, we have consent agenda items. These are self-explanatory, and information packets were provided for council and available for public viewing. These require no separate discussion unless requested by council. Item number 1, minutes. Item number 2, resolution number 25R046. Item number 3, resolution number 25R053. Item number 4, resolution number 25R048. Item number 6, resolution number 25R056. And item number 6, resolution number 25R057. Council, do any of these need to be removed for separate action? See no comment. Is there a motion to approve the consent agenda items 1 through 6?
So moved.
Second.
We have motion made by Mayor Pro Tem Hayward and second by Councilmember Watson. Council, any other comments? Please cast your vote. We can publish the vote, please. We have 6 ayes, no objections. Motion passes. All right, we'll move on to our discussion items. We have discussion item, resolution number 25R042, establishes city's intent to reimburse itself for prior expenditures on improvement for the upcoming tax exemption obligation. Mr. Walters, floor is yours.
Now and then pay ourselves back once we get the bonds that were approved for notice just now, closer to July. This is something that the state allows us to do, basically to start projects now and collect the money from the bonds later in order to match up when the bond cycle and when those funds can come in, how long it takes to get those in, when they don't necessarily match up to construction schedules. So we have before you this resolution to do just that, which is required in order to pay ourselves back. All these items are in the capital improvements plan. They follow the amounts listed upcoming that we'll have before council when we issue the debt later in July. We don't anticipate spending the full $41 million listed in the resolution, but bond council was like, hey, better to be on the side of caution and kind of do the full amount of certain projects. At most, we could spend maybe $5 million over the next few months, and even that is quite a stretch because we're talking about a bond sale in July, funds arriving in August, so we're only talking about 3 months worth of possible expenditures. Other projects listed, the only one truly really going right now are the 2024 SPAN projects. So if there's any questions over about this or the legislature, please let us know.
All right, thank you, Mr. Walters. All right, council, floor is open for discussion. Councilmember Brown.
I make a motion to approve Resolution 25R042.
Second.
We have a motion made by Councilmember Brown, second by Councilmember Watson. Council, any other comments? Please cast your vote. We can publish the vote, please. We have six ayes, no objection, motion passes. Thank you, Mr. Walters. All right, we'll move on. We have two public hearings today. Item number 8 is ordinance number 25-019. Conduct a public hearing and consider a request to rezone approximately 3.5 acres of land from pre-development district to general business district 2, GB2, located 1,700 feet west of the intersection of I-10 East Access Road and Trainer Hill Road, more specifically known as Bexar County Property Identification Number 339775, City of Schertz, Bexar County, Texas. Ms. Marcus, floor is yours.
Good evening, Council, Mr. Mayor, Mr. James. Ordinance 25S19, a proposed zone change to GB2 along IH10, Daisy Marquez Planner. Here's the subject property outlined in yellow. It is located along IH10 Access Road, and it is closer to the intersection of Trainer Hill and IH10. And again, here's the subject property outlined in yellow. It is currently zoned pre-development district, and it is undeveloped and unplatted. And as you know, pre-development district is more of a placeholder. To the north of the subject property, it is zoned agricultural district. It is used for some sort of agriculture. To the south is the IH10 access road or right-of-way. To the east, it is also zoned pre-development district. It is some sort of auto shop and restaurant. And then to the west, we have pre-development district as well, which is some sort of recreational vehicle park. So we sent out 5 public notices on March 21st. We did not receive any responses as of today, and a public hearing notice was published in the San Antonio Express on April 16th. A notice sign was placed along the right-of-way, and we notified fire, EMS, and police. So here's the subject property. It is approximately 3.5 acres, and per the letter of intent, they are requesting GB2 to enable the property owner to determine the most advantageous use of the property. And just looking at the dimensional requirements of General Business District 2, it requires 100 by 100 minimum lot width and depth, minimum 10,000 square feet, 120 maximum height of the building, and 80% maximum impervious coverage. So when staff looks at zone changes, we look towards UDC Section 2154D for the criteria of approval. So 1, whether the proposed zoning change implements the policies of the adopted comprehensive land use plan or any other applicable adopted plans. So as you can see here on this image, the subject property is outlined in yellow, and the property and the surrounding area is designated as regional corridor. So again, this is supposed to be more of commercial and entertainment areas along major thoroughfares with shopping centers, department stores, restaurants, movie theaters, and supermarkets. And the regional corridor land use traditionally aligns with the zoning district of General Business District, GB. And the proposed GB2 does not promote the intent of the regional corridor land use designation. So 2, whether the proposed zoning change promotes the health, safety, and general welfare of the city. So GB2 allows for commercial and industrial uses, and the industrial uses allowed in GB2 do not align with the regional corridor land use designation, which ultimately does not promote the recently adopted comprehensive plan that was adopted last year in April 2024. So 3, whether the uses permitted by the proposed change will be consistent and appropriate with the existing uses in the immediate area. So along this whole corridor, along Trainer Hill, all the way to FM 1518 is designated as regional corridor, as you can see in the zoomed out image. And there is already some existing general business district in this area as identified by the stars on this lower map that shows the existing zoning. The pre-development shown along this area was, it was a result of annexations done in 2010. And then the agricultural district zoning was a result from the recent annexations done in 2024. And then the subject property was annexed in 2010 with ordinance 10820. And what is in the existing surrounding area that is zoned pre-development that was also annexed around 2010 is not compatible with the recently approved comprehensive plan, since it has this whole area designated as regional corridor, which should be some sort of retail, commercial, entertainment area. So these are some of the uses that are permitted by right in GB2, but require specific use permit in GB. And again, this is not a comprehensive list. This is kind of just to show you that GB2 would allow a cabinet or upholstery shop, dry cleaning major, nursery major, railroad passenger bus station, a truck terminal. But when it comes to what is permitted in GB2 but not allowed in GB are things like general manufacturing, industrial uses, office warehouse distribution center, portable building cells within approved SUP, and truck cells heavy equipment. So 4, whether other factors are deemed relevant and important in the consideration of the amendment. So the Planning and Zoning Commission did have a lengthy discussion about the recommendation with staff and the applicant, and the video of this discussion is available on the City of Schertz YouTube page. And the City of Schertz Fire, EMS, and Police Departments were notified of the zone change, and the City of Schertz Fire Department provided concerns over the zone change, allowing a multitude of industrial uses in the area. So staff recommends denial of the proposed zone change due to the allowed industrial uses within General Business District 2 not being compatible with the regional corridor land use designation of the comprehensive land use plan. And the Planning and Zoning Commission held a public hearing for the item on April 2nd and made a recommendation of denial to City Council with a 6-1 vote, with Chairman Outlaw voting nay. And then the applicant is here if you have any specific questions for him.
Okay, thank you, Ms. Marcus. Okay, if the applicant would like to address the council.
Yes, hi, my name is Jeff Saeed. I'm the owner, Bucks LLC. I'm the owner of the property. The thing that the city is not mentioning in this presentation is that there is no sewer available to the property. We would love to have GB, but since we have no sewer and the city has no intention of actually building the sewer, we're pretty much stuck with a property that is unbuildable. It is unzoned for pre-development, so we basically can't touch it. And GB doesn't work. We would need, 1.7 acres for the septic if we went with a GB zone, which basically eats up the whole property. I don't know if can we put this in the overhead? Does that work? Yeah. Or last time it didn't work. Jesus.
I think it locks out. Like that.
Does that show up there?
Should just clear.
Do you guys have a page on the PowerPoint that's the same as this page?
No, just didn't bring it. Anyways, I could just show you like this. So this is the property. This is 30,000 feet. Flex building. The Flex building was going to be as a commercial building as well. Once the sewer is available, we can actually increase. Scenario that the city has, right, so it makes sense to do it. No. city, when we spoke to Mr. James last time, the city has no plans for extending the sewer any soon. It's not even in the works. The public department, even when they were here last time in the public hearing, remember, they basically said that no sewer. So means no development for us. GB not workable, and yet all the neighbors in the area are non-conforming anyways. So having, strip centers and so forth is great on paper, but in reality, there are no strip centers in the neighborhood. Development without sewer is impossible. But between a rock and a hard place, we can't develop, and can't.
Any other comments? Would you like to address the council?
I see the main reason cited as staff recommendation. The staff recommends denial of the proposed zone change due to the allowed industrial uses with a general business district 2 not being compatible with the regional corridor land use designation of the comprehensive land use plan. And BB2 within regional corridor, one of them 87 acres that was rezoned in this room, I would assume. So it exists in a big way. In fact, it would not quite be as retrofit, if you will, into something more appealing and commercial if it needed to be.
And we don't see that the design basically takes away anything from the city. We're not creating a truck terminal or I don't know, some manufacturing. That's not the intent. I mean, you could place restrictions on this development whereby basically asking us to build a specific something. And the Planning Commission basically brought up the idea that, well, if we give it to you, we're going to give it to everybody. How does that work? They have to go through Planning Commission and through the City Council. And if sewer exists, I'll be more than happy to build commercial out there tomorrow. But there is no sewer. And for a site that is 3.5 acres to bring sewer at a cost of $4 million basically makes no sense. And the city has no plans to do sewer. So what do we do? That's the position. And Mr. James understood it. We spoke to him at length afterwards, after the hearing, and he agrees with us. I mean, this is the scenario that the city has us in. The neighbors are using their property to the maximum benefit that they can under grandfather clause, whatever. But we can't do anything. I can't even park a mobile home on it there tomorrow, even if I wanted to. Can't do anything. Yet I'm paying taxes on the property and not using it.
All right. Any other comments?
No, sir, I think that's
If
sufficient.
you please have a seat on the front row in case council has questions for you or we continue. All right, this is a public hearing. The time is 7:18. Is there anyone in attendance who would like to address the council in regards to this topic? Going once, going twice. All right. Public hearing is closed at 7:18. Council, floor is open for discussion. Councilmember Guerrero.
Yeah, I have a question. What's in those 3 buildings? Yeah, what's inside them?
These are flex buildings, basically. They are, a plumber or, just a small business operator that needs a lay-down yard in the back and an office space in the front.
Okay, so it's nothing like operational because you have no sewer or anything like that,
Oh,
right?
no. This has a small bathroom in it. It's going to be on septic. So we did the calcs. That would be sufficient for that kind of a building size for the septic, yes.
Okay, thank you.
That's the proposed bill. Yeah, okay. Councilmember Brown.
Yeah, I understand these aren't built yet. It's still a proposal. I get that 100%. Yeah, and the fact that we have no sewer plans and, it really does put you in a bind. I tend to want to go to on an approval side, not knowing just what you're going to end up as an end user in there causes a little bit of questioning.
That you could always put restrictions on, some sort of a deed restriction. I understand that the city hates this, and she's going to jump in and say that this is all undoable and we can't do it. And their argument, if you permit it to me, then you open the floodgates. That's not true, because all the neighbors in the area are using their property. This is the only vacant property in that area.
Right, I'm
that
familiar
was
with
annexed.
it, and I've driven by it numerous times.
Yes, so.
Ms. Marcus, would you like to comment on that question?
Please.
I just want to reiterate that the city cannot enforce deed restrictions. That's why we use zoning. That's what we enforce.
So whatever's GB2, they can pick anything from that
Correct,
list.
sir. Everything that's allowed within GB2 would be permitted by right if GB2 is given to the zoning.
That's, that argument fails flat on its face, because there is no sewer. If there is sewer, then yes, we would conform to the GB designation. We're not even designated GB. We're designated pre-development, so we have to jump through these hoops anyways. Now, my point is that we have no sewer, and it's due to the city. It's not my fault that there's no sewer. And so what do? They want GB, they want, McDonald's and hotels, and it's undoable.
All right, your next, any other questions?
Well, yeah, I wasn't quite complete, but again, not knowing what's going to go in there, and I understand the city's trepidation there as well, because it's a long list of items by right, but I also know what's down there. It's auto repair major, and they are not exactly your most city beautification projects, if you will. It is what it is. But I also want to make sure that, we're allowing people to use the land to the best of the highest and best use that we have, and what's available now is limited. The longer we wait, the longer it sits there
Mr.
vacant.
Brown, the answer is very simple. I'm sorry to jump in, because
Oh,
commercial.
excuse me for a minute. The questions will be asked, and then you could respond to them. If you can please have a seat, and if he has another question.
I thought it was a question that he wanted.
Well, I
to answer.
don't know whether or not he is. I
And,
just don't want
and
to have
I'll,
that.
that's fine. Let him go ahead and answer, and then I'll
And
close out.
it is in my interest to do commercial. Commercial for me is the most beneficial. The problem is I can't do commercial because there's no sewer. So the minute you provide me with sewer, I'll jump in on that bandwagon and extend it into commercial. I have no intent in doing industrial, I don't know what they're talking about. That's not my intention. I want to build a project that will conform to the city requirements, and it's going to beautify the area. It's going to be a brand new, building that's a lot better than AJ Tire that is next door, or the mobile home park that is also next door. So obviously it's for the city's benefit, and it is for my benefit to do commercial, because ultimately I can charge more for commercial than I can for flex building, because a flex building is very limited in use. Commercial is better for me.
All right, thank you, and I understand, thank you. And basically, that's what I was going to lead into, and we are kind of limited in what can go in there, and vacant land to me, is not worthy of the city either. So I'm going to tend to go ahead and lean towards approval at this point. Obviously, we have some more discussion going on here, but it's going to be a long time before we see sewer and other city utility developments down in that area there. I just don't see that happening in the next 10 years anyway. I really don't, just knowing what's down there already. I don't think that AJ's Tire is going to sell to an upgrade. I don't think that the mobile home park is going to upgrade itself to a hotel development or anything along that line either. So just looking at what's down there, what's going to be compatible. So that's what I got.
Councilmember Macaluso.
Couple questions. First, why is a septic not possible under GB?
Maybe Ms. Marcus could answer that question here for us.
Yeah, so when it comes to sewage, that comes up during the preliminary plating process. So the lot is obviously not platted right now, so that would come into discussion when they would come into actually platting the property. So let's say you do give them, they come back and they come in with the GB application and they come into preliminary plat, engineering would evaluate that, and depending on the location of the closest sewer connection and the user essentially that they would have and how many gallons of sewage they would essentially have at the site, then engineering would either support a waiver for on-site septic, which would make it possible, or they would require a connection. It just depends on the closest location, and that's typically 1,500 feet. It looks like there's no sewer connection in this area, so an OSSF or on-site septic may be possible with GB zoning.
So maybe Councilman Macaluso, if I can kind of chime in to get where I think you're going. So again, as Daisy said, the septic waiver comes with plating, not with zoning. I think what the applicant has indicated, and it's probably valid, which is typically commercial uses generate more sewage than an industrial, quasi-industrial use. And so they could not put the square footage that they would like to on the property because they would have to allocate more of the property to the septic field. So from the applicant's perspective, half the property would be eaten up with the septic field, would limit the size of the building, and it's just not the way they want to go. But they certainly could do, if they get the waiver, septic for whatever the use is, just the size of area given up to the septic field is going to be dictated by the anticipated flows coming off the use. Does that make sense?
Yeah, it does. I just, it's kind of, the applicant can say, this is what we're going to do, but who's to say he doesn't turn around and sell the property a year later, and then the next person that buys it comes in under GB2 and does something that we really didn't think was going to be good for the community. And so it's the same situation where 35 was, to where, they didn't have any sewer connections, and slowly, development came in. But if you don't control it now, you're going to leave the floodgates open for what, who knows what comes for the future. And so, the desire for us is to have it as a regional corridor because we understand what the future might be in 10, 15, 20 years. Do you give up that plan for something now? I mean, that's, what you're kind of asking yourself. So I just think that it's, you kind of, I don't know, I have sympathy for the landowner because I understand that he wants to do what is going to be probably the most profitable for him. But at the same time, we also have to understand what's going to be best for the long term of Schertz, and having that as a regional corridor was, it was a big part of that plan. So,
Councilmember Westbrook.
I think this is a question for you. So I think both Councilman Macaluso and Councilman Brown alluded to it. How do you get the most public value out of this property if we deny it?
So essentially, the applicant can come back and ask for GB zoning, and staff would recommend denial based off of the comprehensive land use plan. And I understand that this site is difficult just because of the septic situation, but again, as we know time and time again, as we grow as a city, infrastructure comes with development. So,
just to be clear, Daisy, sorry, the GB general commercial would be consistent with the plan.
Yes.
And so staff would recommend approval of a commercial zoning. Again, as we know, in the various zoning districts, there are a range of uses. I think the 2 point, not to speak for the applicant, that he would make is there isn't really a market today for those type of commercial uses. And I would agree with that. And then the other is those commercial uses, if he could get one, they're going to need a larger septic field, which means less building, less rent, less value for him coming. And I would agree with that as well. I don't disagree with what he said. And I think really Councilman Brown and Councilman Macaluso really hit the nail on the head how you look at it. Is it about we've got a property owner who's sort of stuck today and the property is sitting vacant and what do we allow? And then Councilman Macaluso saying that, but our vision is for something else. And if we grant zoning today for this interim condition, we're going to look up down the road and we're going to have these industrial uses that's not consistent with our vision. And I think really, while staff is empathetic as well, our concern is if council grants this zoning tonight, when the next property owner walks in, do we grant approval of that? Once you've granted zoning, you really can't undo it. And so I don't doubt, and let me say, I don't doubt what the property owner anticipates, but the problem is when you grant zoning, it's all of those uses in whatever form it takes. And I think our concern is that when we look up 5-10 years down the road, we can't as easily achieve the vision because of those things. And I would also agree that those non-conforming uses are going to be there and be there and be there, and we're going to, but do we want to perpetuate that sort of going forward, or do we try to, I think the thing with the community is it's about not just what happens today, but there is a factor of what's a reasonable interim time frame. But part of our goal is to look at what happens for the folks who come after us. So 20 years down the road, 30 years down the road, it's trying to find a balance. The challenges on this one is staff just couldn't find a good balance that doesn't move away from the vision, unfortunately.
Councilmember Brown.
Yeah, and I don't want to discount, the future uses at all. But as I look at the area here, and if you'll look at it, the area is an angle back towards the frontage road. All right, and there's very little development along that land there, along the frontage road, that can go in the future until somebody decides to buy up all of that land. Okay, that will include the current auto repairs, the current mobile home parks, the current truck stop, and everything else out there that are all non-conforming, et cetera. Now, just one quick question that may or may not be moot is, does aerobic septic make a difference versus traditional septic? As aerobic takes up a whole lot less room. Okay, and that's all I need to know. Just shake your head, that's fine. That was just a question I had. So that doesn't make a difference in there. I like I say, I respect the future, absolutely, but what we already have in there, nobody's going to come in and say, oh, well, there's 3 acres that's available, let's buy it all and knock it all down and redevelop it.
My turn. Is wastewater really the issue here, or is it what's being built the issue? Because if the applicant came in with a PDD and showed us exactly what he wanted to put in there, I think we are more receptive to see, okay, he's building this. We know what it looks like. Is it reasonable? That's why the question is it wastewater or is it what's being built? Which is it?
So I think, I'll chime in, Daisy can kind of help me on this, Mayor. So I think from staff's perspective, where staff sits, the core of the issue that we look at, and I think Councilman Brown's right, council needs to look at a broader range of issues, is what is the vision that council's established with the future land use plan? What is the vision we've set for that? And is this zoning consistent with that vision?
But that vision can be satisfied with a PDD.
If I may,
Yes.
Mayor, let me see if I can kind of get there. And so the concern that staff has in this case is the vision that we have is not for those industrial type uses that the GB2 district allows. And so that's the fundamental reason staff has said that. I think the applicant has made pretty clear, I'll speak for him, but 2 things. The challenge they see with going with something in keeping with that vision, that more retail commercial vision, is there's not really a market for it today, and it's not viable for them in terms of if they could get one of these uses, how much of the property would be given up to septic, right? And I think that's a reasonable, valid perspective, as I said. The problem that staff has is those industrial uses that I think are really more viable today, which is what the applicant wants to do, are really contrary to the vision. So I don't doubt that they'll likely build something more in keeping with what we want, but it's the storage yards out back and the things like that weigh down space that's not consistent, that typically is more. And so again, I think staff's perspective is the zoning. I would doubt that if the applicant came back with a PDD, they would be okay with limiting those type of uses that staff really has the issue with, right? Because then they could just go to the GB zoning, I think is the fundamental issue. So I don't know that the PDD route helps us.
I think to clarify your point, the answer is what's being built. That's the real issue here. The wastewater is just a complication that we're having here. So if the applicant, if this council decides to go deny the GB2, the applicant can come back in with the vision that we can see what you want to build. And that would satisfy this council. Because the question is, the council is looking at two different things. They don't want what's in GB2 here. And what you build may be a GB1 that the council can approve. So that's the. That's a vision that we have to satisfy here. What is going to be built? Because this council this council's tied between the two. Whether we allow GB2, but that's not the question here. Okay, that's not the question here. The question is what is being built. And GB2 is a question here that this council may not want GB2, but this council can see what your vision is with the PDD and let it go through the process. Yeah. Yeah. Let's hold the comments because the issue is what's being built. Okay, and this council has to decide on that fact of what's being built. The complication is the wastewater that deals with either the GB1 or the GB2. With that, I'll open it up to Mayor Pro Tem Hayward.
As I look at this, I have to concur with Councilmember Macaluso. It's going and looking to what is the future, and it's a regional corridor, and what do we expect? If we just keep allowing things because it's non-conforming and we always keep doing that, then we never get to where we want. And 20 years from now, 30 years from now, when even if we do GB2 or whatever the case is, we don't get that and we can't change that going forward. So they sell the property, they can come in, demolish and do everything. And I am of the belief that from now, at this moment, when we have made a decision and looking to the future of our city, because those are the things that we're supposed to be doing as council members, is also thinking about not for the hearing now, but what's going to happen in the future. And when we think about what's going to happen in the future and what we expect in the future, we have to vote in the way that we expect something to be in the future. And so when I look to the future, I have to agree with Councilmember Macaluso that this doesn't get us where we are, and it's a regional corridor. It doesn't get us what our plans are for the future of the city of Schertz, unless we go back and change our comprehensive land use plan.
Council, any other comments? Is there a motion on the floor? Going once?
I'm sorry, if I want to speak, do I need to?
Going twice?
I'll make a motion for denial.
There's a motion.
Second.
Okay. Councilmember Macaluso has made a motion to deny ordinance 25S019, second by Mayor Pro Tem Hayward. Council, any other comments?
Yeah, just one.
Yes.
I also agree. We have to do what's best for the city of Schertz. That's why we're here, all of us.
Okay. Any other comments? Please, no. The motion's been made already. All right, council, please cast your vote. We can publish the vote, please. We have 5 ayes, 1 objection. The motion has been denied. Jeff? You can give me a call. Okay. Next is item number 9, ordinance number 25S020. Conduct a public hearing and consider a request to rezone approximately 1.38 acres of land from pre-development district to single-family residential agricultural district R-A, more specifically known as Bexar County Property Identification Number 310235, also known as 9126 Trainer Hill Road, City of Schertz, Bexar County, Texas. Mr. Willingham.
Good evening, Council, Mayor, Mr. James. Ordinance 25S020, a proposed zone change to RA on Trainer Hill Road. William Willingham, planner. For your orientation, this is the subject property's aerial view. You can see that the property is currently zoned as a pre-development district. To its adjacent sides, you see that those properties are also zoned as pre-development districts. Behind the property is the Schertz ETJ. That property is currently doing business as a welding shop. And across from this property is the Trainer Hill Road right-of-way, which is categorized as a secondary arterial road. Notification for this property, there were 9 notices sent out on March 19th, 2025, and 1 was also sent to the school district of SCUC ISD. As of today, we've received 0 responses in response to this zone change request. A public hearing notice was published in the San Antonio Express on April 16th, and a notification sign was placed by the applicant. So some background on this zoning case, you can see here that the applicant is requesting to change from their current zoning district of pre-development district to the RA district. The applicant purchased this home a number of years back. They were intending to develop a single-family home on this property. Right now there's currently a residence on site, but they're looking to develop that single-family structure. You can kind of see here that across from 1518 there's exclusively RA zoning, and then on their side of 1518 it's that pre-development district and agricultural zoning. So these are the current conditions of the site. You can see here there's a number of homes along this stretch of Trainer Hill Road, all of which of these homes are served by on-site septic systems. These are all in the Schertz Sewer CCN, but none of them are connected to the system at this time, as there are no connections out at this moment. Moving forward, just for some more overview of the context of the site, you can see that this area is still relatively rural part of Schertz. As you can see that, there's vacant property across from the property. There are a number of RA zonings in this area. And then we just see here that the move from the pre-development district to the RA district is, looking consistent with this rural character of this area. Moving forward, the zoning district dimensional requirements. So right now, pre-development district has a limited number of permitted uses in this area, and there aren't really any established dimensional requirements in the pre-development district zone. So the request to move to single-family residential agriculture will establish some more permitted uses in this area, and it will also establish some dimensional requirements for that property. So moving forward, when we look at UDC section 2154D, criteria for approval, we look at the comprehensive plan. Right now, this area is currently zoned as a mixed-use center, which is intended to include residential, office, and commercial uses. A single-family agricultural district is intended for half-acre lots with limited utility access. The comprehensive plan is a guiding document for the long-range vision, and the owner's intent to change from zoning districts from pre to RA does not change the presently existing character of the surrounding area at this time. Whether the proposed zoning change promotes the health, safety, and welfare of the city. As part of promoting the health, safety, and welfare of the city should encourage development compatible with surrounding uses. And so we see here that the RA is intended for areas which are lacking utilities at this time. So as I mentioned before, a number of these properties in this area are not connected to the sewage system, and that is just simply not out there at this moment. The subject site and the neighboring properties are, as I mentioned, not connected, and the applicant's intent to construct a single-family home is compatible with what's already existing out there. Whether the proposed uses permitted by the proposed zone change will be consistent and appropriate with the existing uses in the immediate area. So once again, we see here that the area is still rural in nature, and we still have, for example, that property behind it, which is Bear County Schertz ETJ. The subject property is also one of 8 neighboring properties. They're all similar sizes with similar character of the residents on site. And our UDC Section 21(1) establishes the minimization of conflicts between the uses of land and buildings. And so this is relatively consistent. You could see here on the right some of the permitted uses within that agricultural single-family district. And lastly, whether other factors are deemed relevant and important in the consideration of the amendment. So all UDC requirements have been met for the proposed zone change. And Schertz Fire, EMS, and police departments have been notified of this zone change, and they have not provided any objections to the request. So staff recommends, due to the rural character of the surrounding area, the limited utility availability, and the applicable development standards associated with single-family residential agricultural district, staff is recommending approval of Ordinance 25S020. And the Planning and Zoning Commission also met on April 2nd and made a unanimous recommendation to approve Ordinance 25S020 to City Council. And I believe the applicants are here today. They're sitting in the back. I don't believe you didn't want to speak today, no, but just they're here.
Okay. You don't want to speak? Please, the mic's yours before we open up the public hearing.
Well, I'm just here to bring come true. Thank the opportunity to be here, and I want to look forward to make the city of Schertz better. Yeah.
All right. Well, thank you. Thanks for coming up here. Thanks for taking the time and sharing your perspective on your property. With that, we'll go ahead and open up the public hearing then. Okay. The time is 7:46. This is a public hearing. Is there anyone in attendance who would like to address the council in reference to this subject? Going once, going twice. All right, the time is 7:47. Public hearing is closed. Council, floor is open for discussion. Councilmember Brown.
And in deference to approvals, I'd like to recommend approval of ordinance 25S020.
Second.
We have a motion made by Councilmember Brown, second by Councilmember Watson. Any other comments, council? If none, please cast your vote. We can publish the vote. We have 6 ayes, no objection, motion passes. Congratulations, sir. All right. We'll move on to information packets. Item number 10, monthly update on major projects in progress and CIP. Item number 11, petition for removal of property from the Schertz, City of Schertz ETJ. And item number 12 is a quarterly update for City Council. These are information packets that were provided to council and available for public viewing at schertz.com. With that, we'll move on to council. Any possible updates or information requested from council? Seeing none, all right. Council, any possible items you'd like to place on a future agenda? Seeing none, all right. Announcements by council members. Mayor Pro Tem Hayward.
Yes, Mayor. I attended the volunteer banquet, and then I did a TML Region 14 dinner down in Kemah. They do their regional meeting over 2 days in the spring. Might be something we need to look at for our region to make it fun. And then I attended the TML legislative webinar. That is all.
Okay. Councilmember Watson.
I attended the volunteer banquet, and that was all.
Councilmember Macaluso.
Nothing at this time, sir.
Councilmember Guerrero.
Volunteer banquet, very nice.
Councilmember Westbrook.
Yes, I attended the volunteer banquet and the hometown harvest.
Councilmember Brown.
Nothing tonight, sir.
Okay. The time is now 7:49. We stand adjourned.